Now I am starting a new chapter, chapter 3, human reproduction. As in all other organisms, reproduction is the formation of new individual of the same species. Sexual reproduction is the only method of reproduction in human beings. It involves formation and the fusion of specialized haploid sex cells termed gametes. The fusion of sperm and egg cell is called fertilization. This event results in the formation of a diploid zygote from which a new individual develops. These reproductive events occur only after puberty. Like other mammals, human beings are viviparous. I am repeating, no organism survives forever. It can live only for a certain period of time. The period from birth to natural death of an organism represents its lifespan. Therefore, if a species is to continue to exist, its members must reproduce their own kind. So, reproduction is a process that results in the formation of new individual of the same kind, though usually with slight genetic, structural and physiological variation. I am repeating, reproduction is a process that results in the formation of new individuals. Now I am explaining human reproductive system. Sex are separate in human beings with sexual dimorphism. Primary sex organ produce gamete and also secrete sex hormones. Secondary sex organs are important in reproduction but do not directly play any role in reproduction. Sex can be distinguished externally by accessory sex characters. The age of sexual maturity is called puberty. External or accessory sex character first appear in puberty. During this period, a person becomes capable of sexual reproduction of offspring, presumed to be 14 years in the male and 12 years in the female. I am repeating, humans are sexually reproducing organisms and are viviparous. They are unisexual, that is, male and female individuals are separate. They show sexual dimorphism, a phenomena in which male and female individuals are differentiated externally. The characters which distinguish male and female externally are called secondary sexual characters, which are of two types, primary and secondary sexual characters. The sex organ which produce gamete and sex hormone are called primary sex organ. In male, it is testes which produce sperm, and in female it is ovary which produce ova. Secondary sex organs are those organs which do not produce gamete but play other important role in reproductive process. The secondary sex organs of male are penis, epididymis, vasa efferentia, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, prostate gland and Cowper gland. In female, there are clitoris, vulva, vagina, uterus, fallopian tube, mammary glands, and Bartholin glands. The development period in human include embryonic period, that is prenatal period, takes place in mother's womb means uterus, that includes event from formation of an embryo till birth. The post-embryonic period means postnatal period take place outside mother's womb, that includes events from birth to death of the individual. Now I am talking about some important terms which are used in reproductive system. Number 1, gametogenesis means formation of gamete. It includes spermatogenesis means formation of sperm and oogenesis means formation of ova or egg. Second word term is insemination means transfer of sperm by males into the genital tract of female. Third term is fertilization. Fusion of male and female gamete to form zygote is known as fertilization. Next one is cleavage. Rapid mitotic division of zygote that converts single celled zygote to multicellular blastocyst means blastula is known as cleavage means breakdown. Next one is implantation. Attachment of blastocyst to the uterine wall is known as implantation. I am repeating. Attachment of blastocyst to uterine wall is known as implantation. Next one is placentation. Formation of placenta, an intimate connection between the fetus and uterine wall of mother. So what is placenta? Formation of placenta, an intimate connection between fetus and uterine wall of mother. Next term is gastrulation. Blastocyst changes to gastrula with 3 primary germ layers. Next term is organogenesis. Formation of specific tissue, organ and organ system from 3 germ layers is known as organogenesis. Next term is parturition means childbirth. Expelling of baby from the mother's womb means uterus. These reproductive events occur after puberty. There are remarkable differences between the reproductive events in male and in the female. For example, spermatogenesis continues even in old men, but ovum formation ceases in women around the age of 50 years. Now I am explaining male reproductive system. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvis region. It consists of a pair of testes, accessory gland and a duct system and penis. Now I am explaining testes. The testes produce spermatozoa and secrete the male sex hormone testosterone. They are located in the extra abdominal scrotal sac, which can communicate with the abdominal cavity or pelvic cavity through inguinal canal. The temperature in scrotum is normally maintained about 32 degrees Celsius, means 2 to 2.5 lower than the normal internal body temperature. The spermatogenesis and maturation of sperm requires a temperature considerably lower than that of the interior of the body. The testes develop in the abdominal cavity. They normally migrate to the scrotum during fetal development. Undescended testes in scrotum cause cryopotrigism. The person becomes sterile. Gubernaculum is the ligamentous elastic cord which connects testes to scrotal sac posteriorly. It represents mesorchium. Testes are surrounded by 3 layers of tissue. Number 1, tunica vaginalis, an outer covering. Number 2, tunica albuginea, a middle fibrous layer. And third one is tunica vascularis, an inner network of capillaries. Each testis has about 250 compartments called testicular lobules. Each lobules contain 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules in which sperm are produced. Between the seminiferous tubule in the testes are interstitial cells or Leydig cells. They are named after the German anatomist Franz Leydig, who discovered them in 1850. Leydig cells secrete male hormone testosterone. The germinal epithelium lining of the seminiferous tubule consists of 2 types of cell. Number 1, spermatogenic cell or spermatogonia. Number 2, Sertoli cell or supporting cell. The most numerous are the smaller spermatogenic cells which undergo spermatogenesis to produce sperm. A few large tall columnar Sertoli cells named after the Italian psychologist Enrio Sertoli, who discovered them in 1865. Sertoli cell nourish spermatozoa. The bases of Sertoli cell adhere to the basal lamina of testes. The spermatids mature into spermatozoa in the cytoplasm of Sertoli cells. Mature spermatozoa are released from the Sertoli cells and become free in the lumen of seminiferous tubules by a process termed as spermiation. Sertoli cells secrete an androgen binding protein ABP, which concentrate testosterone in the seminiferous tubule. Sertoli cell also secrete another protein called inhibin, which suppress FSH, follicular stimulating hormone of anterior pituitary. Most seminiferous tubules are in the form of loops. Both ends continue in a short tubule called tuberculi recti. These connect the seminiferous tubule into a highly anatomizing network called rete testes, leading to 10 to 20 fine ductlets called ductili efferentes, means efferent ductlets. Okay, I am repeating. In humans, the male reproductive system is located in the pelvis region and consists of number 1, a pair of sex glands known as testes, number 2, a duct system comprising vasa efferentia, epidysmis, vasa deferens and ejaculatory ducts, number 3, accessory glands such as seminal vesicle, prostate and bulbourethral glands, and number 4, external genitalia, the penis containing urethra. The male sex cell means spermatozoa are produced by testes, conducted by various ducts and ejected through urethra. A fluid is produced by the secretion of the gland which nourishes spermatozoa during the passage. The secretion of gland with spermatozoa is a whitish viscous fluid known as seminal fluid or semen. The process of expulsion of semen from the urethra is called ejaculation. Now I am repeating the structure of testes. Sperm are produced in a pair of glands called testes. In adult male, the testes is an oval structure about 4 cm long and weighing around 25 gram. During early fetal life, the testes develop in the abdominal cavity, but during the 7th month of development, they descend into scrotum through inguinal canal. There is a fibrous cord that extends from caudal end of testes to scrotal wall called gubernaculum. The testis is supported by the peritoneum called mesorchium. Now I am talking about the location of testes. The testes of a male remain suspended in a pouch called scrotum outside the abdominal cavity. As scrotum has a little or no fatty insulation, it helps in maintaining the low temperature of testes, means 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the normal internal body temperature, which is necessary for spermatogenesis. Moreover, a suitable temperature is maintained inside the testes by involuntary movement of the muscles that connect the scrotum to the body wall. Contraction or relaxation of muscle move the scrotum nearer to or farther away from the heat of the body when environmental temperature are low or high respectively. However, in some seasonally breeding mammals, testes descend into the scrotum in the breeding season but ascend back into the abdomen in the non-breeding state. Now I am explaining the structure of testes. The testis is surrounded by 3 layers. They are known as protective covering called tunicae. Number 1, tunica vaginalis, outer covering. Number 2, tunica albuginea, middle covering, and tunica vesiculosa, innermost covering, which consists of a network of very fine capillaries together with connective tissue. Internally, each testis is divided into several lobules called testicular lobules. Each lobule contains a number of tiny, highly convoluted tubules known as seminiferous tubules. Each tubule is 70 to 80 cm in length when stretched out. Wall of each seminiferous tubule is formed of a single layered germinal epithelium which consists of epithelial cells which are of 3 types. Number 1, spermatogonia, number 2, interstitial cells, and number 3, Sertoli cell. So I am explaining number 1, spermatogonia means follicular cells. They are highly specialized cells undergo spermatogenesis to produce sperm. They are diploid cell and their growth is promoted by follicle stimulating hormone FSH. During spermatogenesis, they divide meiotically to produce haploid spermatid, which later give rise to the sperm. Second one is interstitial cell, Leydig cell. Small rounded cell placed in a group scattered between seminiferous tubule. They grow in promoted by ICSH, means interstitial cell stimulating hormone. They produce male hormone testosterone. And number 3 is Sertoli cell, large cell called nurse cell. They provide nutrition to developing spermatid and sperms. Now I am explaining duct system. The duct system consists of tubes which conduct sperm from the testes to the outside. It includes rete testis, vasa efferentia, epididymis and vas deferens. The seminiferous tubule open into a structure known as rete testis. Several vasa efferentia arise from the rete testis which open into the epididymis and conduct spermatozoa out from the testes. Now I am explaining the structure of epididymis. Vasa efferentia conduct sperm into epididymis, which is an irregular, narrow and highly convoluted tubule found on the inner surface of testes. Epididymis is derived from the Wolffian duct of the embryo. It has 3 parts. Number 1, anterior caput epididymis, middle corpus epididymis, and number 3, posterior cauda epididymis. Ducticuli efferents enter into caput epididymis, which is also connected to the dorsal abdominal wall by spermatic cord. Spermatozoa leaving the testes and are not fully motile. They continue their maturation and acquire motility during their passage through the epididymis. I am repeating, the epididymis is a long, about 6 meters when fully uncoiled, but highly convoluted tube, resting upon and on the side of testes. It has a head, a body and a tail. The head of epididymis is made up of highly convoluted continuations of the efferent ductils. At the lower end of head, these tubules join to form a single tube called the duct of epididymis. This duct is highly coiled on itself and form the body and tail of epididymis. At the lower end of the tail, the duct becomes continuous with the vas deferens. The epididymis temporarily stores spermatozoa, which are metabolically inert, non-motile and immature. Epididymis is derived from Wolffian duct of embryo. It has 3 parts. Are head or anterior caput epididymis, body or middle corpus epididymis, and tail or posterior cauda epididymis. The maturation and motility of spermatozoa takes place during their passage through epididymis. A partially coiled thick muscular tube from each epididymis ascend into the abdomen. This tube, known as vas deferens, conducts spermatozoa from epididymis to the base of urinary bladder. The vas deferens join the duct of seminal vesicle at the base of the urinary bladder to form the ejaculatory duct, which open into the prostatic part of the urethra. Now I am talking about urethra. A 20 cm long tube. It is a common pathway for urine and semen. It has prostatic urethra that carries urine. The membranous urethra carries both urine and semen, and penile urethra that passes through the penis and open to outside through urinogenital pore. In females, urinary and genital opening are separate. Now I am repeating about vas deferens. Vas deferens or different duct arises from cauda epididymis, ascend to abdomen, passes over the urinary bladder and receives the duct from seminal vesicle behind urinary bladder, forming ejaculatory duct. The latter passes through the prostate to open into urethra shortly after its origin from urinary bladder. The urethra receives the duct of prostate and Cowper's gland, passes through penis and open to outside.